So if you've been keeping up with any of the discussion and comments on this series, you'll know that bounty hunter is a pretty divisive topic. I discussed at the beginning about how the story is being structured, and some people are not comfortable with that. They came in wanting to be a certain type of bounty hunter, and the bounty hunter story does not allow for that. You are on some rails. Some pretty strong rails, actually, despite the fact that you should be one of the most independent characters in the entire game. That being said, I've heard that being the light side bounty hunter is actually the preferable storyline. I personally feel that you kind of need to straddle the line. Many of the bounty hunter decisions seem like they're really geared around allowing you to be a badass. You're allowed to go in there and rough people up, but being a thug doesn't quite fit in. You have the option of being a scadge if you want to, and he's there to help encourage you, I suppose. But you don't have to be. You do have some freedom in how the personality comes along, but you are nevertheless on a path requiring you to make some decisions that you might not want to. You might not want to have to board that Republic ship and kill that Jedi. You might not want to have to work for a Sith Lord. And if that's the case, I completely sympathize. Believe me, I am an extremely outspoken critic of Knights of the Fallen Empire. But personally, I am willing to ride the rails that is the bounty hunter story. Even though I'm not even a fan of the Mandalorian ideas, I do like what they do with the work. So with that, let's begin the final part of our look at the bounty hunter. We were returning with Skadge to introduce to the rest of the crew.
I suggest everyone get acquainted.
Name's Skadge.
Skadge. Okay, interesting. Call me Mako.
This thing begging for a treat?
No, though I doubt he'd turn one down. I'd like to get down to business, but unfortunately, business is interrupted because of...
You've been a busy boy. Too busy. You should spend more time with your loved ones before they're gone. I'm extending you an invitation. An opportunity to appreciate what you have before you lose it.
Oh, would you just quit dancing around the issue? This isn't the Empire's Got Talent. For $64,000 and the grand prize, the question is, what the fuck do you want?
If you want a chance to say goodbye, come to Hoth. We won't wait long.
Torian, we've got to save him.
We do? Oh yeah, we do. As I see it, I've got two problems here. One is that this is very obviously a trap. And two, I can't believe that little punk got himself caught. It's not really a problem. It is my problem. It's just that... This is why I called myself the Lone Rose. I thought people could take a hint. Now I've got to go save him. He might not come back to life if they kill him again. So we head back to Hoth, and I bring Blizz along this time. He's more familiar with the terrain than anyone else is, so that could be the edge that we need in this fight. And oh yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a fight.
Keep walking.
Ambush, run!
Oh, that was helpful. Torian is the kind of person who feels the need to put spoiler warning in front of the announcement that the good guys win.
You know, Grand Champion, you've got talent. The Overseers would have scouted you eventually. We could have helped you make a real mark on the galaxy. Now you'll have to settle for your gaudy title and the price on your head.
Gaudy? Are you not looking at me right now? Because the word gaudy applies to me like the word svelte applies to Hutts. Yeah, all I'm picking up off of this guy here is that his organization does not like the Mandalorians, and they're peeved that their scouts got to me first. Too bad. Well, in the words of another badass, say hello to my little friend. No, I meant... Never mind, let's just blow them all up, okay?
How? This should have been total overkill.
Yeah, I can't help but wonder what set me apart from everyone else, besides my gaudy title. Oh yeah, it's because my real title is The Lone Rose.
Remember what you saw here today. Remind everyone why crossing me is a bad idea.
I'll discourage them.
Good, because I don't want to have this happen again. People trying to draw me in and kill me is a waste of my incredibly valuable time. So with that crap behind us, we can finally get on to the second target that our Sith client wants us to deal with. We have to head to the planet Voss. No relation to the Trandoshan that we had to beat on Hoth earlier. Just a weird thing that they both happen to have the same name. Not even spelled the same way, but pronounced the same way. Very odd to have in a single work, don't you think? I mean, there's a reason they didn't remake Mr. Smith Goes to Washington as Denzel Washington Goes to Washington. Because you don't want to confuse people.
Otini!
Although I suppose being confusing has never stopped them before, has it?
The Empire graciously welcomes you to Voss Orbital. Ambassador Yoran deeply regrets that he was unable to greet you personally.
You're good. If I wasn't so sure that the ambassador regarded me as something he scraped off his boot, I might actually believe that. You're going places, kid. Apparently this is just to butter me up so that I'll be more accommodating when he mentions how delicate the situation is here.
The Voss abhor discord and don't tolerate violence within their territory. You'll mix peacefully with the enemy here. The Voss revere their mystics. Deal carefully with them, or preferably not at all. Also, outsiders are barred from Voskar proper.
Okay, well, the Sith Lord wants me to take out a Republic target, and you want me to play nice with the Republic. I do like a challenge, but I'm not very good at paradoxes, so unless you expect me to get her drunk and throw her in a sack or something, I think that I might have to break at least one of those rules at some point. But I'll do my best to try to be quiet about it, if that helps.
Don't forget, this little kibosh on violence works both ways. I'm sure we can have some fun with that.
Let's go step on some toes.
I'll leave that part to you. Wouldn't want to scuff my shoes.
So I head down and find the ambassador to get the skinny on what I'm supposed to be doing. He reiterates the whole thing about discretion.
I'm always a professional.
I have my doubts. Your reputation precedes you.
I'd tell him to go fuck himself, but that would just be proving his point, wouldn't it?
That said, I look forward to being rid of General Redrish. That woman will be the death of me, if you aren't.
Oh yeah, this guy really sounds like he wanted to be up in space greeting me the moment I came off that ship. So he could tell me what a piece of shit I was before I even set foot on the planet. Ambassador Eeyore complains about the Admiral because she's flipping systems from the Empire to the Republic, and he's afraid that they're going to lose Voss. And what's more, the usual solution of just going in there and blowing the crap out of her is not an option because the Voss frown on that sort of thing. So we're going to have to dig up some dirt on her, and he suggests the guerrillas out in the field. I'm to gather whatever info I can and send it back to him.
If you insist, but I'll want copies from my scrapbook.
For my own sanity, I'm going to pretend you're taking this seriously.
Oh, I take every job seriously. I'm just not taking you seriously. So you get back to pushing things around on your desk and sighing under your breath while I go out and save your whining ass. So in order to get the answers, I head out to where these guerrillas are. Unfortunately, officers in the field are kind of like piñatas, in that if you beat them long enough, treats come out. Specifically, clues to where I can find their headquarters. So we breach this cave stronghold, and what do we find?
Looks like they were making for a quick exit.
Help me find some replacement parts.
You know how to handle that stuff, right?
Oh yeah, I could do it with one hand tied behind my back. Did I ever tell you that story? Yeah, it was a rough one. No, these guys wouldn't have even bothered booby-trapping these things, which is what I usually have to deal with, so this should be really simple. They were just trying to dispose of the evidence. Let me find some of the parts here and we can set this off safely. Worst comes to worst, we can send Torian at it. He still owes me for that Hoth incident.
Harrier 1, expect more. Yoren's convinced the Voss to allow Imperial troops to bolster Voskar's defenses against the Gormak. Monitor their patrols. If they stray too far, show the Voss how ill-prepared Imperials are for Gormak attacks. Peregrine out.
Uh-oh, someone's been naughty. This is going to be about as popular with the Voss as a toupee shop. So I pass the data on to the ambassador, and he's quite thrilled with it, and tells me to come back to his office so we can plan the next step.
The Voss have agreed to hear the accusations I've made against General Redrish, but they've also agreed to her request to face her accuser. She named you specifically to be called to account and submit to questioning.
Well, crap. Anybody who does her job as well as she does is probably very skilled in both manipulation and outright lying. The one advantage I've got in this situation is that she probably thinks that I'm just like Skadge, and she hasn't put any thought into this. She's just bought the Republic BS and assumed that it's the truth. It may be her arena and playing by her rules, but if she assumes that she's already won, then that's the chance for me to win. Whether it's arms or with brains, it all works out the same in the end.
I apologize that the Empire has decided to waste your time today.
You won't smooth things over with a smile this time. The evidence of your guilt is as plain as day.
Your holo recordings? I was really expecting you to have fabricated something a little more tangible, Ambassador.
Yep, a bald-faced liar, just like I thought. Bold-faced is also an acceptable term for a liar, but it's less common because bald-faced is the older term. The bold-faced actually derives from the 16th century when it was used to describe, well, people like me, who were impudent. Bald-faced wouldn't really apply because, first of all, it is supposed to be bold-faced, and second, I'm a cat.
And your only witness is a known terrorist.
A falsely accused terrorist would be more accurate, or are you giving up all pretense now and admitting the Republic does not believe in innocent until proven guilty?
But I'm not the one on trial here.
No, you're not. But your character is. You're a Mandalorian. Your people have made unprovoked acts of war against the Republic and conducted genocides against entire species. Do you deny it?
Wouldn't know. I just joined.
Tell us, how do you acquire this evidence of yours?
Your subordinates provided everything I needed.
That's preposterous. I won't stand here and listen to the Empire slander me.
Ooh, slander. We've learned a new word in the last 30 seconds, haven't we? I wonder where that word was hiding when you were accusing me of being a terrorist. Well, she insists that she's got to have greater pull with the Voss than me, since she's been planning on undertaking a ritual for them. But the ambassador leaps to his feet and says, that's fine. My companion will also undergo this ritual. To which I say, sure would have been nice to have been asked first.
Hedging my questions was smart. A shame the ambassador had to open his mouth and seal your fate. I've spent months preparing for the trials. They're going to kill you. Ambassador?
Yeah, I'm sure. I am so scared of what you're... What the fuck did you set me up for, you stupid asshole?
These trials are obviously deadly. If General Redrish were not to return from her pilgrimage, it would hardly be unexpected.
Damn, why didn't I think of that? I'm starting to lose my touch. Probably from hanging around with Skadge too much. Spend an hour around him and even Torian starts to look like some kind of hyperspace theorist.
Outsider, my master saw you coming. He awaits in the cloister of meditation.
Who I have to thank for the warm welcome.
Dokoth Ra, the elder. You will see him.
Yeah, I'll see him.
The cloister of meditation is near, but secluded. Follow the silence.
Follow the silence. Oh, it's going to be one of those days, huh?
You get the feeling we're being watched?
Pilgrims are so few now, and outsiders.
Man, I could really see why you guys followed the whole religious sect thing with those eyes. I mean, those are the perfect eyes for pulling this kind of thing. Okay, so what happens now? I was told that basically whatever she did, I'm supposed to do the same, because that proves I'm right.
How much do you know about my business with General Redrish?
She told me you would follow, and your intentions.
Well, it seems like we've worn out our welcome. We'll just be going.
Stay in peace and leave in time. No harm will come unless you resist.
Funny, I was about to say the same thing.
My gift is not foresight, but I see your fate is not for us to decide.
Hey, you do seek wisdom here. Though I have to admit, I've always liked religious sects that are into the whole martial training thing. I mean, the idea that you can take one of my favorite things, beating the shit out of someone, and turn it into a spiritual act, hey, Don't knock the hustle. If I want to catch up with the Admiral, I'm going to have to head over to the Gormak lands, because that's where she's gone. But now we've got a problem, see. We were supposed to avoid these kinds of problems, and, well, I guess it was unavoidable. But I do make it a habit of not killing anybody, and I'd like to be able to keep it that way. Can you assure me that that's what's going to happen?
The fault was ours. Go in peace.
Two of my favorite sentences. You know, you may have been gullible enough to swallow the Admiral's lies hook, line, and sinker, but you seem okay people in my book. All right, so let's head off to the Gormak lands to learn what's up.
Outsider, rest, take shelter, return home. Only Gormak territory lays beyond.
You are the third worst tour guide I have ever heard. After a little prodding, they admit that the Admiral came through here, but they're more concerned with why I would want to know.
She was delivering secrets to the Gormak.
Truthfully?
If this is true, her treason will be appropriately rewarded.
Oh, I never said that Galt and I aren't bald-faced liars ourselves. It's just I really detest people who will deny that they're right down here in the mud with us.
I will point out the place. If she is a traitor, she deserves her death.
Oh, I can't argue with that. So time to head past the Gormak forces and into their stronghold. It's an interesting contrast here between them and the Voss. We saw the Voss were much softer around the edges. They go for ornamentation and ceremony. The Gormaks have this real pragmatic sense to the place. It's suggesting to me that the Voss are in the stronger position on this world. The Gormak are holding their own in any conflict, sure, but there are too many messy aspects to what I'm seeing to say that, no, this is the way that they wanted to live. Sure, Jawas might live this way, but one thing I learned living with Blizz taught me was that what seems like chaos can have an order to it. There's no sense of that here. These are clearly just messes. And you don't just leave a mess lying around unless things are not going well, in which case it's just not a priority to get things cleaned up. So, given the state of this place, I'm betting it's going to be pretty ugly in here.
Smile for the fans.
Yep, blood sports. Classic way to keep the populace happy. You know, I keep bringing Galt along to situations where I think his skills as a negotiator might come in handy. Instead, we keep winding up in situations where Torian or Skadge would be preferable. So yeah, we're going to fight the killer monsters, me and the con man. What the hell is that? Looks like a cross between a rancor and shellfish. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to kill it or butter it. This is the weirdest thing I've faced today, and they already sent in a lizard dog that could fire missiles. Well, killing all these poor, miserable animals is exactly what they wanted. And they are impressed because I didn't have to use the Force to do it. So the chieftain hops down here. I thought at first it might be that he wants to face me personally, but actually he just wants to know why I'm even bothering trying to rescue the Admiral. So I explain I'm not rescuing her. I'm taking her back to face judgment, which he is all in favor of. So we work out a little bit of a deal. I'm going to show him some of my moves so that his people can learn how to fight like I do, because I'm awesome. And in return, he'll not only bestow weapons and wealth on me, but he's also going to tell me where she went. Seems a fair trade to me. Oh, my fade to blacks always involve getting into fights, never into sweet, sweet love with a pile of cat girls. Heavy is the burden that is mine. Anyway, when that's all over, he tells us we're going to have to head to the Nightmare Lands. Sounds charming. There we have got to go to the Dark Heart, he says. Ooh, the Dark Heart of the Nightmare Lands. I'm charging extra for this one. Well, if you're going into the darkest part of the darkest place of this entire planet, you're going to have to set the tone. Hit it, Blizz.
A woman came up to me and said, I'd like to poison your mind. If wrong ideas would appeal to you, though I am not unkind. She looked at me, I looked at her. They written across her scalp. And these are the words that it faintly said as I tried to call for help. There's only one thing that I know how to do well, and I've often been told that you only can do what you know how to do well, and that's be you. Be what you're like. Be like yourself. And so I'm having a wonderful time, but I'd rather be whistling in the dark. 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 There's only one thing that I like, and that is whistling in the dark. The rock, he said, though I am not unkind. We laughed at his little joke, and I happily walked away. And in my head on the wall of it, the two of us live today. There's only one thing that I know how to do well, and I've often been told that you only can do what you know how to do well, and that's be you. Be what you're like. Be like yourself. And so I'm having a wonderful time, but I'd rather be whistling in the dark. Whistling in the dark. Whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark. There's only one thing that I like, and that is whistling in the dark. There's only one thing that I know how to do well, and I've often been told that you only can do what you know how to do well, and that's be you. Be what you're like, be like yourself. And so I'm having a wonderful time, but I'd rather be whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark. Whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark, whistling in the dark, whistling, whistling, whistling in the dark.
I expected we'd cross paths again, but not here.
Yeah, thanks for dragging me into this planet's dark asshole. I really appreciate it.
It's not hard to find people who share a desire for peace and prosperity. A Mandalorian wouldn't understand.
Yep, just can't get enough of all of the people claiming this is the moral high ground while standing on a pile of bodies.
I'm so close to getting these people on speaking terms, and you're about to throw it all away. For what, money? Tell me you're not that petty.
You're between me and a man spouting lies. Nothing personal.
I think that's a small sacrifice for peace.
Of course you would. Everything looks so small from way up in that ivory tower. So a fight breaks out, and guess who wins? I'll give you a hint. It's the snappiest dresser in this room.
Wait! Cease fire! This is a losing battle.
Finally dawned on you that resisting is pointless?
I had to try. Now I have to deal. This is a pivotal moment in this planet's history. I won't let our squabbles get in the way.
Oh, it's too late for that. See, if it was about the cause, then you would have tried negotiating from the start, but you didn't. Because you don't want to die, and hey, I don't hold that against you. I'm fighting because I don't want to die either. But if my life is worth it for your cause, well, your life is worth it for mine. And also, there are only 3 things that I can know for sure. A lying Jedi has put my life in danger. Your lying Republic has put my life in danger. And your lying ass has put my life in danger. So even though you're just using words now that weapons have failed you, I know that in your mouth, words are weapons. You could give Galt a run for his money, and Galt is the Usain Bolt of money. So I'm going to take the safe option and not believe a word you say, but I'll file it away for later. I'll mention it to the Chancellor when I see him, and rest assured, I will see him. I'll tell him what you've claimed, and if I see he's horrified to learn that his ill-advised declaration of war against me undermined some noble goal, well, I guess that day the truth will be known. But knowing that I'll no longer have lunatics kidnapping my crew and killing my friends, well, what was it you said? Oh yeah, it'll be a small price to pay for peace.
Sorry, Toots. Can't please everybody all the time.
So, time to let the client know that this problem has finally been dealt with.
Here, the credits Darth Tormund promised, plus a little extra thanks from the diplomatic service.
Ah, my favorite kind of gratitude. The kind that spends.
My subordinates tell me that you dealt with the privateer and the Kawati woman.
Yep, both tagged and bagged. Well, one was tagged and bagged, the other's in a bucket around here somewhere.
The campaign on Raban is coming to a close. I will direct my forces towards a full-scale assault on Corellia. Rendezvous with my flagship, the Tyrant, in Raban's outsystem.
Oh, gladly. I always love visiting that ship, especially with its friendly name. I'm so glad you picked that over the Disemboweler. I understand that was a close second.
I am Captain Evelyn, commanding officer of the Tyrant. You are Darth Tormund's bounty hunter?
Well, he's a client. Are you busy? Because I can come back later if this is a bad time for you. You sound a little preoccupied.
Republic Special Forces slipped on board during our troop withdrawal. They've completely overrun the command decks. It won't be long before we lose the bridge. If you act quickly, we might be able to turn things around.
Get a load of the stones on this guy. Last time I was here, his people attacked me. This time he wants me to fight commandos. After a quick discussion, including my very substantial fee, because this is hardly the kind of work that I normally do, we head over there. We'll have an advantage coming from the outside as opposed to coming from the direction that the Imperials have been bottled up. We'll be able to basically come from behind.
Can't wait to rub this rescue in Tormund's face.
If you're gonna rub his face in something, make it the dirt.
Please don't.
Yeah, I was gonna bring Skadge along, but suddenly exposing a Dark Lord of the Sith to him seems like a really bad idea. So after a nasty, horrible, ugly fight, Galt and I managed to make our way to the bridge.
You must be the bounty hunter Captain Evelyn contacted. Thanks for the rescue. Once they killed the captain, we thought the fight was as good as done.
Really? He didn't look like that much of a fighter.
We need a few minutes to override the lockdown, but we're finished if we have to hold off another attack. Will you assist in defending the bridge?
Do I really have a choice?
Well, I suppose not.
You catch on fast, don't you? So Galt and I head over to take care of the Republic while these three yahoos deal with whatever it is they're dealing with. When that's finally over... Nice to see a whole bunch of people are having a worse month than I am.
The captain's dead, sir, my lord.
And yet you avoided his fate.
Yes, I mean, no. We were
If I sell you out, it's gonna be to that guy. Just saying.
See, that's what I like about you, Galt. You're honest about your dishonesty.
I'm mobilizing my entire division to Corellia. The rebellion will be crushed. Corellia will fall, but military victory will not be enough. I do not want the Republic merely defeated. They must submit.
Nope, I'm very familiar with the whole groveling thing. I've been thinking about giving it a code like, a number 6. We're going to do a number 6 on the Corellian leadership. Now, you might think that a guy who just killed the last of his bridge officers isn't very good at planning ahead, but actually, that's not the case. The whole reason to take these people alive fits in with his plan. If Corellia is conquered, then the Republic will just send in troops to try to liberate it. However, if Corellia breaks away from the Republic has to acknowledge that. They have to handle it diplomatically rather than with soldiers. As a result, the Supreme Chancellor will need to get involved. What's more, that Jedi Master that's been hounding me is going to want to get involved. he's going to come to the planet to try to thwart this. With him on the planet, I'll be able to track him down and deal with him, making Darth Tormund happy because this guy will no longer be a thorn in his side, and making me happy because he won't be a thorn in my side.
I have sent my forces ahead, under command of General Crow. Meet with him and proceed according to plan. When the Tyrant is hyperspace capable, I will join you.
I imagine the first step is getting yourself a new bridge crew. Still, I suppose when you take a job on a ship called the Tyrant, you gotta expect a little tyranny. Well, with no need for further encouragement to get the hell out of here, we pile into our ship and head off to Corellia so we can begin this whole war thing.
Warm welcome.
Yeah, so far the Darth's minions fall in two categories. Either, how dare you show up just because you were told to, and save our asses, please! Anyway, the first job is to go after the head of the local businesses. This guy is cooped up in some really secure tower with a bunch of his fellows. Basically, Corellia is a very industrial planet, so they got a lot of money. And so they've got great defenses. No chance of landing on the roof and fighting the way down. It's go in through the front door and fight our way up. Actually, it's a very apt metaphor for the whole business experience, isn't it? You're forced to start on the ground floor and you're supposed to work your way up, except people with a different agenda keep getting in your way. The big difference, of course, is that you're not allowed to kill people who are in your way at work. Well, not without clearing it with human resources first.
Wait.
Sir, they're dangerous.
They're also not Imperial soldiers.
I smell a pitch coming on.
This is clearly a question of money, not loyalty. Am I right?
I got my reasons for being here. Money's only one of them.
Look, I'm a powerful man. I can open a lot of doors.
You talk a good game, but here's the problem. It doesn't matter how much money you give me, so long as I've still got my problem. Galt here is an expert in telling you how having a massive pile of money and being a wanted man isn't necessarily a great combination.
Take care of the Republic's price on my head, and we'll talk.
A fresh start? Harder to grease the right palm since the Prime Minister sold out to the Empire, but it's possible.
He's on to us.
Yeah, I figured. I just thought it was a shot. I mean, I'd rather not have to carry this guy out of here. Unfortunately for him, these guards aren't much of an improvement over all the other guards that we've had to fight past to get here.
Make me drag you out of there, and they'll have to shoot your next press conference from the neck up.
Don't hurt me. I'm unarmed. I can't stop you. I'll go quietly.
Good to see that you wised up in the end. And thanks for the pose. I appreciate not making it difficult for us to head through doors.
You've obtained Chairman Fane. Good. We proceed on schedule. General, see to the bounty hunter's reward.
Yes, my lord.
Yep, you could just hear the enthusiasm in that voice, huh? Hey, don't forget any of the zeros on that little chit there. Well, now that we've taken care of Mr. Frozen assets, we move on to the next target, one of the Solonians. Those are the sort of rat-like people that live alongside of the Corellians. That's not a judgment, just an assessment. You know, I'm a cat. Who am I to judge?
There's someone specific you have your eye on?
One particularly tenacious animal leads packs of raiders to undermine our front lines. It will make as good an example as any.
I really don't like when people are referred to as it. But I think in his case, that's just basically how he views, like, everybody. You know, it's not a racism thing, it's a you are not me thing.
What's important enough that they'd risk fighting on our terms?
Solonians rely on a small breeding caste to reproduce. With their future at stake, the Solonians will have no choice but to act. Raid the Solonian warrens under Labor Valley, take your hostages, and hold them at these coordinates.
Ugh, I've had some ugly plans before, but even its mother wouldn't love this one.
These shock collars will keep the alien filth in line while you lead them to the ambush coordinates.
Oh, nice. Didn't have any whips for me to use? Ugh. Well, this is it. This is where I've had to cross the line. I mean, to tell you the truth, I haven't liked any of the things that I've had to do since taking this on. That privateer? He was a pain, sure, but I've certainly had to deal with worse. The only reason I left him to Skadge was because I honestly wasn't sure I could stop him. And the only reason I brought Skadge along was because I wasn't 100% sure that I could catch this guy without him. Skadge knew the place, he knew this guy. Under other circumstances, where pursuing him off-planet for a week or two even would have been an option. I would have just shot Skadge in the leg and left him behind. But there was no room for that. I had to catch him on the planet, which means I had to stick that beast on him. As for the ambassador on Voss, well, if I hadn't been smeared by her using the smear the Republic already had on me, I might have been more inclined to at least give her the benefit of the doubt. But the fact that she was willing to do all of those things, seemingly play into the Republic's belief that I am this monster, made me believe again I had no choice but to play it on the side of caution, to do what was necessary, because the only way for me to survive in the long run is to complete this assignment and deal with the Chancellor and that Jedi. Both those things, though, were distasteful. I didn't like them, but I did them. They were an unpleasant thing that I had to do in order to get the job done. But I gotta tell you, this is beyond the pale here. Under any other circumstances, if it wasn't life or death, I wouldn't do this job. At least not in this way, certainly. But I've been backed into a corner here. I have no other choice but to work with the Sith if I'm to find a way to get this price off my head. But this is the way the galaxy is, isn't it? If you are not part of the power structure, then you're nothing. You are a small price to pay for our goals. They don't even pretend it's not true. They'll just come right out and admit it now. That's what the place has become. Look at me. I'm allied with the Mandalorians and the Sith. The Mandalorians trashed the Cathar homeworld, not for any reason other than just to test themselves. And the Sith are hardly any better. You think that the Selonians are the only furry creatures that they refer to as it? No. I'm here, though, because if you are not part of that power structure, then you're nothing. The closest thing I have to a friend is an enemy who respects me. But the plan works, and it draws Shrona in, and I bring the hostages out, ready to gun them down if they do not acquiesce. They think I'm bluffing. Fuck me, I am. So we have to do it the hard way, fighting it out with Shrona, and eventually they capitulate, and I get to take Shrona back as the prize, and I let the hostages go, naturally. They've been through enough. We've all been through enough.
The trap is nearly set. All that remains is to capture the last figurehead of Corellia's old regime. Corellia's Civil Police Force Commissioner.
Wait, so my next job is to capture the top cop?
I'm almost tempted to handle this one no charge. Almost.
Compared to what we've just been through, this is pretty straightforward. The cops are all bottled up in the old Corsac headquarters. Luckily, those defenses probably won't apply to a pair of really snappy dressers like us, so Galt and I will slip inside and catch this guy.
Well, look at you. Waltzing in here like you own the place. Come to finish what they started? Go on and kill me. You'll have 1 million citizens rioting in the streets by sundown.
Oh, isn't he going to be surprised by the punchline where he's not dead?
We've got our sights set a lot higher than your public.
So that's your game. Shake up the core worlds. Get the Senate in a panic?
Careful, he's trying to get you to talk. Makes you wonder why.
Good point. And we soon find out why, because it's allowed time, unfortunately, for reinforcements to show up. Well, not unfortunate for us, it's unfortunate because it means I'm going to have to shoot more people than I would have had if I'd just captured the guy right now. I do kind of feel a little bad about that. Got to do better next time.
Good for you. You want a medal? You and me, this battle, the war, not even a blink in the grand scheme of things.
I make do with the here and now. Tormund, the Commissioner is secure.
Good. Our forces have control of the Corellian legislature. Deliver Commissioner Carter to the Grand Assembly. Your reward will be waiting.
Oh, good. A trip to Congress. This guy's the lucky one. He's frozen and doesn't have to listen to them. Nice view. I didn't know you could get box seats for a surrender. So the three captives thawed. They grudgingly ratify the whatever it is they're doing. And then the Prime Minister gives a speech demanding that the Chancellor come and ratify their treaty to leave the Republic for the Empire.
It was only a matter of time. As Prime Minister for life, let me be the first to welcome you to Imperial Corellia, my lord.
Ugh, guess he should have let someone else be first. I guess handing over Corellia to the Empire wasn't as easy as this guy promised, so yeah. Hope we get our business done soon before he feels the need to vent that in my direction.
A large Republic fleet has entered the system. It includes the Founder, Supreme Chancellor Gennaros' personal flagship. These reinforcements are attempting to consolidate at the Green Gardens. You know who leads them.
Well, this is it. You know, the worst part is, it would be so much easier if I wanted revenge. It'd be so much easier for me to head in there and do this thing, wanting to do it so badly. But I don't want to do it. I have to do it. Like I said, I'm backed into a corner. I've done a lot of ugly things to get here. I got to do this last ugly thing in order to get out of it. I mean, take away all of the trappings and all of the authority and such, and this guy is no different than those two punks on Balmora who ambushed me out of some need to avenge their brother. I didn't take any pleasure in putting them down. I'm not taking any pleasure now.
An intruder!
Go. Do your part to liberate Corellia. This is a private matter. You don't want to get in the middle of this.
Are you certain, June?
Please go and undermine the Empire all you want. I am not above doing that to even the odds.
What won't a Mandalorian put aside for pride? What I do is who I am. What you do is ruin lives for profit. Nothing I did altered that truth. You chose to murder Kelly and Jarl, just like you chose to kill everyone sent to bring you to justice. You could have surrendered at any time. You chose to become a murderer and terrorist. I only turned all that senseless destruction toward a righteous purpose. Killing my associates and slinging mud? Real noble.
Yeah, pretty talk. Always the pretty talk, but that's all it ever is, isn't it? You know, I was going to join the Republic, yeah. The Jedi came and brought a Cathar away. Apparently, we're particularly inclined towards Force abilities. I wasn't. That's not where my gifts lay. I was actually an autodidactic. I was teaching myself whatever I could find, any book. I worked all day and read all night. The Jedi talked big about the life of service that they provide, how they protect the weak, look out for those who are in need. It's funny because I'd always heard stories about how the Jedi had abandoned Cathar to the Mandalorians. But hearing them talk, I thought maybe there was a misunderstanding. Maybe that's not what happened. Maybe they tried and it was too much for them. But I was inspired. So when I became of age, when I was ready to try to pursue further education, I thought, I'll do the same thing. I'll follow that same track. I'm not a Jedi, but I could serve as well. So my first try wasn't to any of the universities that I knew I could get into. I tried to join the Republic Military Academy, to be trained as an officer and to serve. I was told I should report to an enlistment office where I could become a soldier. Yeah, all those pretty words, and yet when the time comes, we're still just beasts, aren't we? Oh, I looked up to you. I should have known you were just looking down on me.
Turn around and smell what you don't see. Close your eyes, it's so clear. Here's the mirror, behind there is a screen. On both ways, you can get in. Don't think twice before you listen to your heart. Follow the trace for a new start. What you need and everything you feel is just a question of the day. In the eye of storm, you will see a lonely dawn. The experience of survival is the key to the gravity of love.
I think I figured out what those Jedi were getting up to. What? Shit, I hate when they do that. It hurts and it's degrading. Not pretty, but I'll take the win.
I did not see Saros. You were successful?
Yeah, he sent them away to attack you and face me by himself. The Republic's always underestimating me.
Jun Saros came here aboard the Founder. He was privy to its security protocols, landing codes, even the Supreme Chancellor's itinerary. My subordinates will transmit the relevant data to your vessel when it's prepared. Until then, make yourself useful to Darth Decimus. The battle for Corellia is not yet decided.
Oh man, haven't I done enough? I'm practically single-handedly conquering this planet. Anyway, after helping the Sith conquer Corellia, again, I guess, we finally get on with the final job that I've got to do for Darth Tormund, and then I can put this whole thing behind me.
The Jedi are broken. The Republic forces are in disarray. Now is the time to strike.
Works for me. The less I get kicked around like a hacky sack, the better. Getting me onto that ship is a two-step process. The first step is me using the landing codes in order to get permission, but they might be hesitant. So to give the Republic some encouragement, Darth Tormund is sending some of his fighters to attack me, thus making my destruction imminent unless I'm allowed to land, and the Republic will err on the side of letting me on board rather than letting one of their own ships get blown up because they're too concerned with bureaucracy. I just hope they don't work hard making this look too good. I put a lot of money into this ship. I don't want any holes in it.
Do not hesitate to dispatch your pursuers if they become troublesome.
I don't think Darth Tormund has many Boss of the Year mugs. Probably because no one survives a year around him.
Once the deed is done, how do you expect me to break away from the Republic fleet?
Signal your success, and the Tyrant will lead an attack to cover your escape. The Supreme Chancellor's fate is sealed.
Okay, fine, we can do this. After all, it's not the first time that we've tried something like this. As a matter of fact, that's what got me into trouble in the first place. I raided a Republic ship. Well, if raiding a Republic ship got me into the trouble, logically, raiding one will get me out again. To do that, though, we've decided not to use my ship. We'll use a Republic ship instead. That should work out a lot better. So we're going to have to steal one. That also is kind of appropriate. That's how I got my ship in the first place, stealing it. If we go full circle again, I'm going to start to get dizzy. So the landing plan works without a hitch. Next step is to clear out the docking bay. First of anybody who's in the way, and then of any ships that might be used to try to get the Chancellor to safety. Once that's done, it's just a matter of catching him. After all, hunting him is easy when you're a bounty hunter. That's where the hunter part comes in. The bounty is because I clean up messes while wearing flannel. Let me just tell you, as someone named the Lone Rose, you've gone overboard on the red.
So many people willing to lay down their lives for me. Should never have come to this. There's something I want to tell you before you do what you came to do.
You better have one hell of an apology lined up.
You deserve more of an apology than I'm capable of giving. I reviewed the reports surrounding the operation to apprehend you. It's atrocious. A monumental abuse of power. I don't condone what you were doing, but I understand it. It was just your job. June made it personal.
Okay, don't misunderstand what I'm saying, but I really wish you would have done that homework sooner. If you'd even have done it yesterday, you'd probably made a lot of people much happier. Like the entire population of Corellia to start with.
I've already declassified the real details of yours and June's actions to the public. The fallout will be tremendous. No matter how our meeting concludes, I'll be removed from office.
Nice. But I do see right through it. I mean, no one commits political suicide unless it's to avert actual suicide. You're hoping that this'll butter me up enough so that maybe I won't turn you over like I'm supposed to.
He's using us to make his mark. Tormund's a monster. His troops have been butchering Corellians. On Raban, he flattened kilometers of homes, businesses, hospitals. A man like that can't be given more power. Let's fix this while we're in a position to do so.
I'm glad you cleared that up for us. I'd have never suspected a Lord of the Sith to be so cruel. Come on, you've seen what that mechanized terror is capable of. Let's stay on what passes for his good side.
Funny how all this time I've been bringing you along. Always keeping you on one shoulder, with Mako in my earpiece, sitting on the other. Always told her she'd be good as the person in the chair. Sorry, Chancellor, but I've already picked my side. It's not the Republic, and it's not the Empire either. So I'm going to take you in alive. And who knows, maybe your successor will hire me to save you. And as long as they're paying well, I'll be happy to do the job.
Bet that's not the monument he was hoping for.
Still, at least it keeps his head attached to his body. And if the Republic does want to stoop to having me rescue him, I will deliver. On the other hand, when I drop him off with Darth Tormund and he boasts about how he'll make use of me, I let him know the same thing. If he's got a job for me, I might take it. I might. As long as we can live with it. Funny, when half the galaxy won in my head, none of these people turned on me. None of them took off to save their own hides either. Yeah, I was wrong. I wasn't dragged into Torian's problem. He was dragged into mine. And he still wanted to stick with me. 'Cause that's what it's like to be part of something bigger than yourself. It's part of being in a crew. So yeah, if you need a job done and no one else can do it, you know who I am. But if you're out for revenge, well, don't let the name fool you. 'Cause I've got people watching my back now. Even if everyone does call me the Lone Rose.
I've been kissed by a rose on the grave. I've been kissed by a rose on the grave.
There's so much a man can tell me, so much he can say. You remain my power, my pleasure, my pain.